My name is Helen Mudora. I'm the Civic Education Manager at Uraia Trust. I am a media practitioner, but also I have moved into development communication, where I raise awareness on social issues that affect children, women, persons with disabilities, and as well as governance issues. Inflation is going to be high, and it's going to be much higher than it is right now, generally because of the taxation. I know that the government is trying to get resources to provide services, but probably the government could look at other ways of raising resources, maybe even reducing wastage, as opposed to a lot of taxation. If I come to persons with disabilities, I know that it was actually a success some years ago where people with disabilities pushed for tax exemption. And a policy was passed that, for example, if you're earning between 0, I think, and 100,000, you don't pay taxes. But those earning above 100,000 then would pay taxes. And this was very instrumental because if you're a person with disability, if you're using a wheelchair, buying a wheelchair comes at a cost, which you have to foot it by yourself. I have talked, when you're taking transport, a lot of times in the Kenyan system, a lot of times you have to pay taxi so that you get from point to point with dignity. Of course, you can use matatu, but there's no dignity in matatu. During rush hour, matatus will not take a person with a wheelchair because it takes time to fold the wheelchair, put it up, and then get you in. In fact, they carry you into the matatu and out. So that is why that exemption was very, very important. And I really hope that we cannot lose that and go back into taxing persons with disabilities. For me, we just promote inclusion. We're calling it inclusion. It should be inclusive governance. When you're talking about inclusive governance, in every law, in every policy that we make, we have to think about the impact of that policy or law on persons with disabilities. And when we come to service provision, in every service that we are providing, we have to think through about people with disabilities. If you go to the West, for example, people with disabilities are enjoying their life to the maximum. Actually, the Convention on Rights of People with Disabilities says you must enjoy that right on an equal footing, on an equal basis with others. So you go to the West, like the trains, they are accessible. A wheelchair, people don't have to carry you into the train. You wheel yourself inside the train or inside the car. The cars are adapted. And I hope that in future we can get to such a place where people with disabilities can enjoy their rights on an equal basis with others. If you're blind, the government is able to provide you with a guide. If you're deaf, you're provided with sign language interpretation, not just on TV for news, but everywhere you go for a service. If you go to the hospital, if you go to school, you should be having somebody who should do that. If you're a wheelchair user, you're able to move around any building, any mall, any shop on an equal basis with others. That's what I look forward to. One is making the Constitution work. The provisions in the Constitution that have not been realized. For example, Article 100 and Article 54, because even Article 54, which is very specific on persons with disabilities, has a raft of measures which have been put out there that the government needs to do. So we need to unpack those measures and make sure that if it is in terms of school, people with disabilities can access education. If it is enjoying their rights and their life, they should be able to do that. And I think the other thing is about financing and resourcing disability programs, like the National Council for Persons with Disabilities. It has been a game changer for the disability sector, and I think they need more investments so that they are able to provide better services to persons with disabilities. And also awareness creation. I think the government has left awareness creation maybe to civil society organizations, but I think the government can take a central role in educating the public about disability rights.